And Adam descended to the earth, not as a punishment, but as the plan and the destiny of the Lord Most High. And we said we must remember that final fundamental. All sons of Adam live, all sons of Adam die. We are raised, we are of the soul, we get judged, heaven and hell. But the final fundamental, we said we're getting to the end of the story, so focus on the final fundamental. That all of this has been one grand tale. And as I'm telling it, it all must fit perfectly. So we said that before a person ends the tale and makes the proof, and yes, I must give a warning. If a person comes telling the story of the truth, and it is the first time that that nation ever hears the story in their English language, then they must be given proof that is irrefutable, and they must be given a warning, unfortunately. And I know we've talked about a lot of dark and scary things, but I want to start telling you and get you to focus that this war has always been about searching for the light versus the darkness. All of the other petty human differences between race and gender and even color and language are now immaterial. If you know the story of truth, you know that it's beyond that. You know that to live in a land where there are people who dare say God is not great, I call you out, oh you who calls yourself Christopher, you ignoble creature who was made by the Lord. How dare you? How dare you? The Lord Most High is greater than all things. Don't you understand the story of truth? If I am claiming to be a person who bears the light, I should call out a heathen like a man named Christopher. I can challenge a man called Barack Hussein. I can challenge anyone. I'm telling you the truth. Not because there is anything great in me, but because there is the truth of the light. And so it is time for me to remind you of what you should already know. Remember the story. All of it is there. Before the person tells you the story and proves you all that I am proving you, he must tell you the whole story from the beginning to the end. And here is the point where all the popes and rabbis are wondering, is this man going to speak the truth? Because there is a secret that only those who have been given the light of the Lord know. And there is nothing great about me except I remember the story. And so here it is. You have heard the story before. You have heard the story before, and that is why you recognize my words as true. I told you every part of this tale must be so amazing and incredible. And then when it's told to you, it must be so grand is the glory of the light of the Lord, that when you hear it, you can't believe it, yet you know that you already knew it. A person who tells the story of the truth doesn't reveal any secret knowledge, but only reminds you of what you already know, but does it in a way that the Lord Most High has blessed. And it is in this fashion that I am giving it to you for the first time, from the beginning till the end. And so now we get to the point where all of the theologians who know the person who tells the story of the truth must be able to understand all of the misguided things of the darkness, but he must be able to prove one more greater fundamental. He must be able to tell you how his soul has understood the light and got the story as I reveal to you. And he must tell it to you the only way that a truth teller tells the tale, by recognizing where he is in the story. First and foremost, remember your roots. He must be able to acknowledge that of all of Allah's creation, that I have ever met, the most noble are the ones who I call my mother and my father. Unless he admits that truth, he is not giving you the light. So the story isn't there for you to understand, connecting to your family and your people and your tribe, so that you remember the story that your fathers didn't know or had forgotten. As my father told me stories that never made sense, but only after the truth of the light are they now clear. That the tales of your roots, O black people, are there. That remember, of all people, you who call yourselves African American, remember the worst thing that has happened to you is slavery, the worst mark on our story. But all of the men who have ever lived in this nation that are black, one man rose up to tell you, remember your roots. You used to be those who called themselves Muslim. And yet we have heathens who deny God and say the Lord Most High is not great. Oh yes, I am going to tell you the secrets of your very own soul. I told you my own story and how I received the light. So that when I tell you your own story, you will know that the light is the brightest thing. I must be able to tell you the truth of the story of your own soul, and it must be so amazing and grand and explain something greater than any mystic or soothsayer or fortune teller. I am not a medium or a futurist. I am giving you the word of the Lord and how the truth of your existence is, so that when you hear it, you know it. Because as the story of truth is told, the light can never be lost. From this moment on, let it be marked. From here on out, you are going to know the reality of your own soul, and you are going to be proved by the greatest of your scholars the reality of the story of the truth, not from me, but from you. And I will explain it for you, and then you are going to get the warning of what is to come. Now again, as a caveat, I must say, for you to understand the next part of the story, you must remember the fundamentals. There is only one God. La ilaha illa Allah. Allah, the word meaning the God. Do not be deceived by those who say Allah means anything else other than the one Lord. It is not a reference to the moon or a pagan or anything else, as we have always maintained in the story. The Lord Most High can only be described by anyone who has understood as the light, and all of us are seeking the light, and every prophet that we talked about, we referenced the light. And we said in this story, God created the angels, God created the jinns, God created Adam and prophets with books. You will live, you will die, you are breathed of the soul. You shall be raised, eternity of punishment and reward in heaven and hell, all by the plan of the Lord. And we said, to understand the hugeness of the story, we must remember the important part where the Lord granted Abraham his prayer and said, "Oh Lord, I seek the light. I don't want to worship sun, stars, or moons, or anything else. From this point on, I want to know and worship the Lord Most High." And he was the prophet of the Lord, bearing the light. And he challenged the earth, from this point on, let only the Lord be worshipped at the Kaaba, the holy house in Mecca. And we went through the story of that, but he made a challenge on the earth and said, "My Lord is the one who gives life and takes life. And we said he made another challenge. But we're not going to get there yet. We're coming to this section where now you want to know the truth of your own soul and why it is that you're able to understand the light. Let me take a little break, please, inshallah.